Waldo Politics is now live streaming Just Chatting MISTRIAL. My cousin is a juror and my dad works in Nintendo. Works in Nintendo. Getting started soon. Toss any links to stories or memes into the Discord. https discord gg Benyay Tridix 8
Hello, hi, how are you? My name is Waldo, and I'm here to feel the politics with you. How's everybody doing today? I am doing good, thanks for asking. Um, yeah, it's Saturday morning. I've got a handful of politics stories to talk about. Um, I'm going to run through a few of them, and then if we still have time, I'll play a video game, I think. There's not too much super important news going on right now. I got a few things to talk about, a few opinions to throw out there. And if you would like to contribute, hop into the chat, and the lovely Lady Canooch will read your text out to me. She is working for your tips. And the if you would like to submit a story, you can do so on the Discord, which is right there already. Are you going to read it, Canooch?
Discord.
There you go.
https Discord GG Benyay Tritix 8.
I had to poke her. She fell asleep. I had to wake her up. So, if you'd like to contribute, hop into the Discord, give me a link to a story, or get in there and do some argument and political debates with me and or anybody on the Discord. It's very fun. We're all very cool, and you can be cool too if you just go there and do that. If you'd like to watch old videos,
YouTube. https www.youtubecom at Waldavideos.
you can go right there and watch me do this, but in a shorter form where I turn these into videos. You can get old opinions, you can get old news, you can catch me in lies. You can go there and try to find out where I'm wrong. I'm not, but you can try. You can go there and uh, find the secret hidden Illuminati symbols that I've hidden within every video. They are there. You simply have to go there and watch and find them. Watch very closely, and you might find them. And if you don't, then you watch it again. See? Very simple. Uh, if you want to be a part of that, you can do that at YouTube right there. And so let's get started with the news. Very important, very big news today. Dun, dun, dun. It's in the title. There is a motorcycle outside. Perfect timing, just when I get started. So we'll jibber jabber for another minute before we get started as it noisily drives by. Yeah, it's great. I love them. They're so cool. The guy's so cool. All right, it's gone. Let's start over. Let's talk about the news. I had you up. I put you in place before. There it is. Dun dun dun, mistrial. Donald J. Trump says that it's a mistrial. Oh my God, what could this possibly mean? Why would this be here? Why would this be happening? What is the mistrial? Well, let's look into it. It's very important, and I'm sure it's incredibly true. Judge Merchan's letter to Trump trial lawyers raises eyebrows. Oh no. What could there be in the letter? Questions have surfaced regarding the jury in former President Donald Trump's New York City hush money trial after the presiding judge flagged a post on social media alleging that the juror had spoken about Trump's verdict before it was handed down. That's a serious charge. According to the New York State Supreme Court, Justice Juan Merchan's letter, which was sent to Trump lawyer Todd Blanche and Manhattan District Attorney Prosecutor Joshua Steinglass. A comment was left on the New York State United Court System's Facebook page. A Facebook page. It was created by a user named Michael Anderson who wrote, "My cousin is a juror and says Trump is getting convicted. Thank you, folks, for all your hard work." Facebook. Facebook. That's where we are. Facebook. This isn't even a meme. It doesn't even have a JPEG of Kermit attached. There are no minions anywhere. It's just someone who typed into Facebook. My cousin is a juror, and they said Trump was guilty. Good job. That's it. That's the whole thing. Guess who can go onto that website on Facebook and type things? Anybody. You can type any lie you want on there. And so it's blatantly, clearly, obviously not real, not true. Anything you read on Facebook, probably not true. You should start, you should just begin all interactions with Facebook like that. It's on Facebook, probably not real. You start from the unreal, the unreality, the no, that's not true, and then you work backward to find out if it is. Republicans don't do that. And I think this is a systemic issue. I think this is pointing out a very large, very systemic, very base problem that the Republicans have. They look at Facebook and think it's real. They're doing it backward. They should look at Facebook and say, oh, that's probably not real. Let's find out if it is, if it could be. Let's do some investigation. Let's do some digging. Let's figure out whether or not it is actually real. They don't do that. They start from it's true, it's real, super important, share with everyone. So we've got more to read. The comment was in response to the post by the court on 29 May, a day before the former president was convicted of 34 felony counts. In connection to hush money paid to adult film Stormy Daniels. Yeah. Okay, so important. The judge found out about this and passed it to everybody because he's not crooked, because he's not corrupt, because he's not one-sided. He's playing fairly, as usual, as he always has been in this entire case, playing fairly, following the rules, doing the things correctly. That won't stop them from labeling him as a criminal. And that's what we're about to see. So he finds out something untoward happened. He passed it to everyone. Then he's going to have a hearing to determine whether or not the jury actually did this, or it's just some random lunatic on Facebook saying random lunatic things that have no basis in reality. The reality will never be reported to you. That's not important. That's not interesting. That's not sexy. This horseshit is going to be pumped out by people, mostly people on the right. So and this is an actual problem, if the day before the verdict came out, one of the jury members was saying that it was unacceptable, or if the day before the verdict came out, one of the jurors started texting their cousin, that's a problem. It might lead to a mistrial. It could bring a mistrial hearing, but I don't think it'll cause a mistrial. Thomas is in chat, and I'm going to hop in there and talk to him about it. Mr. Thomas, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay. Yeah, I've got your audio levels set right, and how's it going?
Pretty good. A little bit sick.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's just my throat messed up right now.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes for bad streams.
Unfortunately.
Makes it hard to stream, is what I mean. Not bad, but like hard to stream. That's difficult. Yeah. I've been ranting a little bit about this latest Facebook meme.
I just jumped in. Fill me in.
Okay, so Donald Trump says mistrial, and lots of his fans are screaming mistrial because of let's see, Juan Merchan, the judge, has sent out a letter describing a post on the court's Facebook page that says, my cousin is a juror and says Trump is getting convicted tomorrow. Thanks, you folks, for all your hard work.
Interesting.
Well, no. Yeah, and you're right. It is. This could lead to
we wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't, right?
I wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't interesting. Anybody can go to that page and type whatever they want.
Sure.
Then, on top of that, there's no evidence that this is actually a cousin of one of the jurors. They've found I might be skipping to the end here, but
in my expert legal opinion, it would depend on the severity of the conduct of the juror, but if
But
the conduct was sufficient to dismiss the juror, it would result in a mistrial.
Okay, listen. We've had this problem for a very long time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you right now so that you can hear the lovely Lady Canuch speak. And when she does,
oh yeah, okay,
you will know that why I stopped talking, because this is an issue that you and I have had. I stopped talking when Lady Canuch starts talking, because Popog, our senior legal expert, is in chat, and I am going to share something with you. What am I sharing with you? Screen. No, I don't think screen will do it. Capture devices. Webcam, OBS, no. Public stream links. Maybe. I'm going to go live.
All right.
And then if you watch that in Discord, you should be able to hear Canooch. I think I've gotten it straight.
Cool.
All right. Are you hearing me right now?
Yes.
Am I all doubled up in your ears, making it impossible to talk?
No, but I.
Canooch.
And then Canooch is talking. Do you hear her?
No.
Okay. You still don't hear her. I swear to God, I'm not kidding you. KBP did exactly this with me, and he heard Canooch. I don't know what's going on. I tested this with KBP last week, and it worked. And he heard it, and he was in here with me in the stream channel. Maybe I shared the wrong thing with you. I'm going to stop streaming that, and I'm going to stream a different thing. And we're going to get this straightened out today. Share the screen.
If you share the stream stuff with me, then I'll hear myself talking as well, which is not good.
Okay, KBP didn't hear it. He said he didn't hear him. He only heard Canooch, and he was doing good, and he was in a better position. How is it now?
So I am not hearing myself
I am
anymore.
the Lady Canooch, and I cannot be heard by Doubting Thomas.
I heard it.
Okay, now what did I share with you? I shared screen 1 with you. Okay, excellent. Okay, so what are you seeing on that thing?
I'm watching the stream in real time. Actually,
Okay.
It's kind of nice.
Okay, fantastic. That's the Lady Canooch. I cannot be heard by Doubting Thomas. I appreciate. Okay, so we got it figured out. Okay, I rearranged some of the settings, as you can see. Some of the artwork around the side has changed as well. I'm probably going to shrink this. I don't think I need all this empty space right here and stuff like that. But that's a different problem for a different day. You should be able to hear the Lady Canooch now. So when she talks, I stop talking, so I don't talk over her, and she's not talking over me. But that leads to you not hearing it, and then you think that I stopped, and then it's a whole thing. Whew. I'm glad we got all this straight. I feel so much better.
Nice.
So I have to share my screen 1 with you, and that'll do it.
That works.
All right. So Popog is here. I'm glad you're here. Our senior legal correspondent is here also.
Popog, good to see you. It's been a while.
And he says that it would depend on the severity of the conduct of the juror, but if the conduct was sufficient to dismiss the juror, it would result in a mistrial. Right. So, Facebook, Rando says the juror told me the day before the verdict. Now, if that's true, I agree with Popog that the juror is
likewise, Thomas. Good to hear you.
Tossing out information to their friends and family. They said, hey, we're going to vote to convict him tomorrow. Everything is going that way. And then they started texting their friends and their cousin. If that's true, that could be grounds for a mistrial if they thought that it really was changing the outcome of the trial. I mean, if 95%, they had 5 weeks of evidence. And then they looked at all the evidence, and then on Tuesday they all said, "We're going to vote, put it in for the final vote tomorrow." But the preliminary votes were all guilty. And then on Tuesday night he says, "We're going to vote to convict him tomorrow." And then Wednesday they do. Does that change the trial? I don't think it does. I don't think it changes the previous 5 weeks. It could be grounds for some sort of mistrial, or some sort of, hey, the jury wasn't doing a good job, or hey, they were doing a bad thing, or they were overreacting, or they were acting poorly, but it doesn't change the facts. It doesn't change the 5 weeks.
Well, so, and maybe Popog can correct me, but if in their text messages and whatnot, if we were to assume that this was all true, and the juror was like telling their family and friends and whatnot, like what was going to happen, and if they were celebrating about it, like, oh yeah, we got this motherfucker in prison and whatnot,
right?
Like
that could be a mistrial.
At that point, you could definitely at least make the case for jury bias.
Mm-hmm.
which I'm pretty sure is grounds for a mistrial,
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
it very well could be. And that would be the thing. The cousins are a matter of law. I mean, you can figure out who your cousin are. You can investigate to figure out who that person is, who they were on the jury, and then you can subpoena their text messages and stuff like that, and find out if they were feeding this cousin all the information the whole time, like they weren't supposed to. Biased jury, mistrial, definitely a thing that is not going to happen because, as usual, everybody jumps to conclusions way too fast. Um, let's see. The comment was made on 29th. Let's see. Laura Loomer on Twitter says the comment was made on May 29th, days before the President Trump's guilty verdict, and was announced, and which could now be entitled to a mistrial because the jury pool was tainted and compromised. Laura Loomer says. Monica Crowley says enough with this bullshit. Treasury Department under Trump administration, mistrial, no retrial, tossed the conviction. Good old Maytag says the fix was in from the beginning. Let's see, who else we got? If this is true, then it's further proof that President Trump never had a chance of being innocent. She added it was a sham trial from the beginning, and guilty verdict came down from the deep state and the big guy. Then, let's see, we've got actual lawyers saying they would have to investigate. And why does it matter?
But what does Ja Rule think about
What
this?
does Ja Rule think about it? Excellent question, Popog. Let's see. So the right is on Twitter very excited about this, and I think it's just because they're clinging to something that makes them feel better. The person who posted it is a shit poster. Where did there we go. Michael Anderson. This is the guy who posted it. Take it easy. I'm a professional shit poster. Definition: in internet culture, shitposting is trash posting, is in the act of using an online forum or a social media page to post content that is aggressively, ironically, and trolishly poor quality. Shitposts are generally intentionally designed to derail discussion or cause the biggest reaction with the least effort. It may even sometimes be orchestrated as part of a coordinated flame war to render websites unusable by its regular visitors. This is the person who posted that their cousin was on the on the jury.
Like, is this actually true, and what is the evidence? Sounds like a stupid, boring question no one should look into. What does a random Republican say about it now? That's the hard-hitting journalism.
That's the journalism you're craving, Popog. That's right. It's not true, and it was posted by a shit poster. So I took us through this journey of here's a crazy claim, here's a meme, it was a Facebook post. Mother of God. And then we have very solid evidence that it's not true. Are we going to hear about it for the next few years? Thomas, are we going to hear about this for years to come?
What will
No.
Waldo eat
I
if it
think
is
we
true?
are. I think we are.
I don't
I
think
think
so.
we are. I think
No.
this is exactly what happened with the 2020 election. Bamboo DNA in the paper. The votes got sent to Venezuela, and Hugo Chavez's ghost flipped them to Biden and then sent them back, and then Biden won. This is exactly what happened with the 2020 election. Crazy shit on social media that's not true. Republicans cling to it for dear life. They cling to it, hoping that it's true. And I mean, in my comments and in the chat section, right-wing people come in there and tell me that the 2020 election was still rigged. They're going to use this for years. 2027, somebody's going to come into my chat and tell me that the trial was rigged because of that Facebook post.
Maybe one.
Maybe one. I still get comments today in YouTube comments about how Obama wasn't born in Hawaii. They cling to these things, and I think we'll be hearing about this for years.
But one comment is literally half of chat.
Yeah, you're right, Popok. One.
Well, it is
Boosted.
now, but you know.
That's a good point, Popok. Tell your friends to come watch and jump in as well. I think this is a sign of well, it's not a sign. It's just another thing that happens over and over and over and over again. Is that the people on the right feel a certain way. They want a certain thing to be true, and any evidence, even anonymous Facebook posts that get deleted, are making them feel better. Because reality tastes like shit, and bullshit is delicious. This is bullshit. This post is bullshit, and Marjorie Taylor Greene ate it up immediately. She found something that she could cling to. Nom 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 nom. Bullshit. So good. Yum nom 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 nom. And she ate it up.
Hey, I've already
She
disowned her,
did.
okay?
I know you've disowned her, but she's still in House meetings. She's still being sassy out there in Republican House investigations. Uh, all the rest of those people ate it up, and I think chat's going to eat it up. Not you specifically, or Popog, but I think years from now, people are still going to jump in here and they're going to gripe at me. They're going to say, hey, that trial wasn't real. Hey, the 2020 election was rigged. Hey, Obama wasn't born in Hawaii. Because it makes them feel better.
I really hope we're not talking about these things in, I don't know, 5 years.
She would literally eat a shovel full of horse shit on camera if it got her 20 seconds of news coverage.
Maybe. Well, she would. It's just that the bullshit is delicious. The bullshit is good. Man, that tastes good. And I think that it is kind of an opiate. If you are a giant Trump fan and you're online all the time, you're cruising the YouTube, you're watching all the people on YouTube tell you that he's not guilty and it's a sham trial. This comes out, it's one more delicious bite of bullshit that isn't real, but it makes them feel better. And in those people, and I'm suggesting it's like an opiate. And I don't think it's a coincidence that it's generally the same type of people who got addicted to literal opiates. Why
What?
would those Venn diagrams really overlap each other? The people who are addicted to opiates are the people who are gobbling up this bullshit. It's a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. It's the same people. The Venn
What are you talking about?
draw a Venn diagram of all the people who in the Republican states were addicted to opioids, right? And then you draw a second circle of people who believe this horse shit on Facebook, and they overlap quite a bit. And I think it is a sign that they want the unreality that those things bring them. They want the unreality that this post brings them. They want the unreality
I
that the
don't think
opioids bring
Portland
them.
is really jumping on this Facebook post and they're the fent capital of the
They're the
US.
fent capital. Okay. Am I? This is just me talking out my ass. Is Portland the place where all
Yeah,
the fentanyl is? Am I talking out my ass? It's
this
fine.
is bizarre.
Of course, it's
I'm
bizarre.
not sure where you're coming from with this, actually.
Who, when a Republican goes on stage and complains about all the fentanyl, they're
Didn't we have this conversation
yeah,
already?
yeah, yeah. But I'm connecting it to their absolute search for unreality online. I'm connecting the two. I think it's a.
What?
Why would you not connect them? They don't like reality. It's awful here. So they escape it through Facebook posts, through uh, fake news,
So
and
they believe
through
in conspiracy
opioids.
theories,
Yes.
therefore they must do drugs.
No, I'm not saying no. I'm saying that it is a symptom of them trying to escape reality. I'm not saying
Waldo
that they
is
do
connecting the
drugs.
colored strings and newspaper clippings again.
Correct. I'm connecting the colored strings. Absolutely right. I'm drawing we've got I've got two things on my cork board. One of them is people who do uh, opioids and people who believe fake news on Facebook, and I'm putting a piece of yarn in between them.
Yeah,
Get the
I'm
industrial grade aluminum
baffled at
foil
the moment.
again.
I'm not gonna lie.
You don't think that there's something there? You don't think there's some connection there?
No.
Well, I'm suggesting that it's because they want to escape reality. They don't like reality. It's a terrible place. It smells bad and it's full of hard truths that they don't want to face. They don't like the fact that Donald Trump is guilty. Hence, they look for some opioid to make them feel better. And this is it. This is one of them. This is a very small one. I agree that it is a very tiny one, But why does Maytag do this thing? Because it makes her feel better. She's not doing it for any other reason than that. She wants to feel better. Why do people take those opioids, the literal ones? So that they can feel better.
That is an extreme reduction of what's happening in both situations there, I think.
You think so?
Yeah.
So okay, there's an Appalachian coal miner who's been laid off from his job because we
You
don't
could
want
have just
coal
said
anymore.
this is copium.
Copium. Yeah, well, both are copium. Yeah. Opium and copium. So we've got a hypothetical Appalachian coal miner who's been laid off because we don't want coal anymore. Burning dirty rocks isn't exactly the fuel of the future. And he's addicted to opioids. Why? Why did he start doing them?
Because he tried them once
Because they made him feel better.
and made him feel really good.
Okay.
And then he got addicted to it because that creates pathways in the brain
Okay.
that you no longer can feel good without them.
Okay.
So I think I'm turned up too high.
Great. He comes into my chat and tells me that this Facebook post is real. Why would he do that? Why does he believe this Facebook post? Why does he believe the lies that Donald Trump tells him? Why does he believe the lies about the 2020 election? Why does he believe that Obama was not born in Hawaii? Because those things make him
Because he's
feel
stupid.
better. Because those things make him feel better. It creates pathways in his brain that he can't feel good without. That I'm saying that they're the same thing.
No, he
No?
chooses to believe those things.
Okay. And because it makes him feel good. Doesn't
But
it make him feel better?
the lack of reasoning ability is what does it. It's the stupidity in a conspiracy theorist's brain. That's what
I
it
think
is.
they're choosing it because it makes them feel good.
Because he doesn't know Hawaii is a part of Kenya.
He's unaware of that, yeah. I think it makes him feel better. I think clinging on to this thing makes him feel good. Just like the opiate, it makes him feel better. And because it makes him feel better, it's very hard to get him off of it. It's very hard to direct him somewhere else. Because, like I said, reality tastes like shit, and bullshit is delicious. He's got this Facebook bullshit that is great and tastes good. It's not real. It's not reality. If he wants to come back to reality, he has to stop eating this delicious sugar-filled bullshit and come eat actual shit that tastes bad. And he's not going to do it. You can't convince him to do it. That's why you can't talk sense to a person like that. That's why you can't drag them back to reality, because it stinks and it smells bad and it isn't a pleasant place to be. It actually makes people quite cynical. And then you turn into me.
I don't think any of that is the way it works. Also, you should turn me down like a couple points there.
Okay.
Like there, yeah.
Okay.
I was just watching the bars.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't think it works like that. And honestly, I just mostly choose not to associate with stupid people.
Okay. And I'll keep my eye on the news and whatnot, but I think that this is gonna pop back up. You don't think it's gonna pop back up? This is over and done with, and Waldo's the only one that's gonna talk about it?
Pretty much.
Okay. I I hope that
Unless it turns out to be true.
it's already been proven not to be.
Has it though?
Yeah, the guy said it's not true. The person who posted it said no, it's not.
Well, he also said his cousin was a juror. So
Right. That can be proven to be false. And
right.
if that's proven to be false, it'll never come up again, right?
Yeah, in theory.
In theory. I have a feeling that that part will be ignored by people who wants to ignore it. The people who make, if this post made you feel good, you'll ignore this part. You'll ignore the reality of it.
Well, it worked like that until someone brings it up, and then you go, "No, idiot! It's not. It wasn't true. You got fooled by a shit poster on Twitter."
Then why do they
And
keep
then they
saying the
go,
things
"Oh
about?
no, I'm stupid."
No, they say, yeah, it is true, and then they move on, and they keep thinking it. They keep holding on to it, just like the Obama birth certificate stuff. There are people online right now that are still convinced that he wasn't born in Hawaii. There are still people talking about the 2020 election being rigged, and none of that is true. But it makes them feel good, and they're going to hold on to it forever.
You know what?
2025, 2026, they're going to be complaining to me about Obama birth certificate and the 2020 election and this post.
When people say stupid things, or they believe stupid things and they're outspoken about it, or when they do stupid things, I'm going to have a really hot take here
Mhm.
for a second. We need to bring shame back to our society.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is in many different ways. Um, we shouldn't be censoring people. Let them put their stupid ideas out there and then shame them for it. You are an idiot, is what the response should be to people who say stupid things or incorrect things. And it also goes for people that
I
make
think you
certain
could be right
choices.
in another universe, Waldo, but in this world the conviction is likely to be overturned. My guess is at a federal level based on my understanding of the NYC Court of Appeals.
Go ahead,
And,
Thomas. Yeah.
as I was saying,
Mhm.
I think that shame is a tool for getting people to behave properly. And this goes beyond just being a conspiracy theorist idiot.
Mhm.
It goes beyond, being a flat earther and getting made fun of for it, right? We should make fun of flat earthers because they are morons.
Okay.
But it goes into choices too, like people who do drugs. You should shame them for it. Yes, should be
Okay.
like, dude, you're a moron. You did drugs. Fat shaming is something that is not acceptable anymore. But we should be shaming people for eating too fucking much, not exercising enough. Yes,
Okay.
all of that uh, is one of those things. Shame is one of those ways we can enforce those standards I'm always talking about.
And that's fine with me, honestly. Um, I've never been against shaming. I argue with the people in chat when I think that they're stupid. Um, I could be ashamed if something I said was crazy stupid and somebody pointed it out. Uh, that's fine with me. I'm not against any of the things that you've just mentioned. I don't think it'll change their minds. I don't think it'll change them at all because
It will.
they have their own reality bubbles to fall back on. The, you could prove 100% of the with 100% certainty, you could prove that this isn't true, but the people who want it to be true will keep saying it for years.
Yeah, but the more you shame them for it, the fewer there will be.
I
I mean,
hope
you're never
so.
gonna get
I hope
rid
so.
entirely. You're never gonna get entirely rid of all the flat Earth morons,
Okay.
but you can substantially reduce their numbers.
Okay. If we
Waldo has been being shamed for years and hetero homosexual.
Well, I don't know. Popog's on one today. Why do you think it's going to get overturned, Popog? I don't think it is. I think that there's going to be very few reasons for an appeal. I think he might even get the appeal thing shut down. They're gonna try for appeal. It's going to get shut down because there was no misunderstanding or misappropriation by the people in the court. What do you think, Thomas?
I haven't followed it super closely, but based on the questions, especially the ones that you mentioned you were upset about, where the lawyers said things like there were these people that could have been called to the stand and made the case that weren't called. Um, it sounds to me like the argument is that his guilt was not proven beyond a reasonable doubt.
Because the defense didn't call people that exonerated him?
Well, that's not the defense's job.
That is literally the
Because the
defense's job.
jury instructions on the underlying crime is probably a violation of the Sixth Amendment.
Okay, so Popok's talking about the jury instructions on the crime are probably a violation of the Sixth Amendment. Okay, so that's something that could get appealed. But Thomas, the prosecution's trying to prove it.
Uh-huh.
The defense is trying to make the shadow of the doubt, and the defense didn't call those witnesses.
I believe the argument would be, it isn't the defense's responsibility to create that doubt. The doubt exists
Of course
if
it
there are
is.
holes that exist already.
That's
And the
their
holes that
purpose.
exist are already beyond a reasonable doubt.
That's their purpose. If there's some giant gleaming hole, shadow of a doubt, and the defense doesn't point it out to the jury, then they're doing a bad job. It's not the
Oh, I'm sure they did.
prosecution's. It's not the
trial
prosecution's
lasted 5
purpose.
weeks.
It's not the prosecution's job to point at all the doubts. It's the defense's job.
Right.
And if they didn't do
And
that, then they're bad.
all I'm saying is the more gaps in your knowledge that you have, the more of a doubt there is.
I
right?
agree with you, Thomas, that the defense probably did create the doubt, but that wouldn't be an appealable error unless there was a procedural error.
I don't know anything about the Sixth Amendment, but this is the reason why I think that the appeal is going to be shot down. Because the defense did all their stuff, the prosecution did all their stuff, and nobody did anything improperly. There wasn't any procedural errors. There wasn't any accidents. Nobody did anything wrong, trial-wise.
A judge could give a directed verdict to overturn the jury verdict.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, the complaining about not having witnesses, that's nonsense. That's more of that bullshit. It's more of that delicious bullshit. If there was somebody who could get on that stand and say and create that shadow of a doubt, and the defense didn't call them, then the defense is a joke. Then they're a really bad defense.
But the jury being dumb and improperly convicting by virtue of being dumb isn't something you can appeal.
Damn, that's unfortunate.
I think they did everything correctly. It seems like all the things got followed.
I don't know if that jury could have possibly been intelligent. After all, they do come from a 95% blue county.
And they were agreed upon by the defense. The defense threw people out of that jury.
I mean, you technically can appeal it, you're just not going to win.
That's what I think is going to happen. I think that they're going to appeal and not going to win. They're going to put out this appeal, and then it's the appeal judge, the choice is going to be before them, and they're going to say, well, okay, what happened procedurally wrong with this case? And they're going to be like, blue, nothing. And then the appeal judge is going to be like, no, okay, out, get out of here. Or they're going to make a bunch of shit up. They're going to make up a bunch of bullshit, which is what Trump's defense has been doing the entire time. They just spit bullshit all day long.
Unless you can prove the jury members are literal paint-eating retards who don't qualify as reasonable.
Yeah, but they were agreed upon by both sides. It's not like they went out and found all the blue voters and put them in the jury. The defense agreed to these jurors as well. That's jury selection. It's a thing that happened.
Well,
Which is hard to do.
If your pool is 100%
To say the
almost, of a certain category, so if it's 100% leftists that you have as available for selection, which the county is 95% blue. If that's your pool that you're pulling from, then it doesn't matter how many you reject or agree to. You're still going to get the same result in the end.
No. You would simply reject, and then you go to the judge and say, like, Judge, we can't get anybody who's unbiased. We can't find anybody. And then you would move to change your venue. And they tried that, and the judge said, no, this is fine. Properly. The procedures were followed properly. And that argument works. I don't believe that argument in the other direction either. If it were in Mississippi, in the reddest district, that the jury couldn't have been found that was unbiased. I think they could have. I think that if you do your job properly in the court, it, the unbiased people will be weeded out, or the biased people will be weeded out.
I don't think that's possible.
Then the
Especially
entire
not on
justice system is going to crash and burn. The entire thing is ruined. The entire thing is ruined at that point because it only matters if the jury likes you. It's a popularity contest. If under your theory,
Well,
under
they
your
tried in the
idea,
opposite order. They tried to change venue prior to selection, but you're right, Waldo, it should be done after trying to select a jury and failing.
exactly, the defense was stupid. They're dumb. They really are. They did things out of order because they're stupid. They could have said, "This, I can't get an unbiased jury. That means we need to change the venue," and then maybe the judge would do it if he thought that there was some obvious proof that all the blue voters are going to shoot him down. If Thomas, what you're saying is that blue people vote to convict red and red people vote to convict blue and they don't do it the other way around, then our entire country is ruined, wrecked, top to bottom from now on.
I think this is a unique case.
Yes, it's unique.
Where these arguments do have merit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's the case for most of our justice system. Now, it is sometimes the case if you have biases based, like group biases, basically.
Mm-hmm.
For
I've
example,
got jury
O.J.
duty at the
Simpson
end of the month,
absolutely
and I
killed
am
those
going to
people.
vote to convict both red and blue. Got M.
Popo convicts everybody. He doesn't care what the defense says. Everyone's guilty. But go on, Tom. Sorry.
I was saying, I mean, the biases do exist. O.J. Simpson never should have gotten away with killing those people, and he did.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had like an almost all black jury, and they were upset, and one of the jurors even has admitted to this many years after the fact, that they were upset about the Rodney King event.
So the shadow of a doubt that they had,
and so
was
no.
based
There
on...
was no shadow of a doubt. He was fucking guilty.
You weren't on that
100%
trial.
guilty.
You weren't in there. You weren't part of the jury.
It was
You were a
televised.
kid
You
when
could
it
watch the whole
happened. So
thing.
was I.
It all had it. He was guilty. Do you actually believe O.J. Simpson was not guilty of murder?
I believe there was a shadow of a doubt.
I don't
That's
think there
how
was.
the system works.
And by the way, the standard is not a shadow of a doubt. It's beyond a reasonable doubt.
Okay, so there was a there was a reasonable doubt. Fine. The jury thought that there was a reasonable doubt because the police handled things poorly. And wasn't there a vial of his blood missing or something like that? That's a mistake on the police's part. If the police mishandle evidence...
No. The evidence, 100%, that dude was fucking guilty. Okay?
Okay.
I will not accept any argument to the contrary. I'm sorry.
How is this any
guilty.
different?
His blood was in the vehicle where they were killed. He was struck and was bleeding on his way back to his house. There was a trail of fucking blood the whole way. Like, dude was guilty.
I think he most likely did do it. But the trial happened. The prosecution did a bad job. The police mishandled the evidence. And that made a doubt on the jury. And if
the jury
you're suggesting
was biased,
that they were biased because of the things that were happening in real life. And that's going to happen on every big trial, right? It's not going to happen on the minor trial. Bill Smith goes into...
There is a chance that he wasn't guilty and tried to cover up his son being a murderer.
There's the chance that he was covering up for his son. So that's one of the doubts that the defense sows. The defense sows doubts. That's their job. Doubt. They want you to doubt. And then when it comes to the voting time, you remember those doubts, and then you're told, hey, if there's a doubt, you can't convict.
He was guilty.
Well,
and also the jury did it because they were racially biased.
Because they were racially biased. Okay, great. So we can't
One of the jurors stood up and gave him a black power fist.
So we can't have big cases. The system fails when the people are too well known. Is that what you're suggesting? Because I think you might be onto something there.
Sometimes that happens. Yes.
I think you might be onto something there because the defendant is such a big and important person, because we all saw them drive with a white Bronco, because he used to be the president. You can't be unbiased.
Yes, that is what
Okay,
I'm
great.
suggesting.
So then that has to be decided by judges instead of a jury. There's no other way around it. Or else it's a purely political, and all politicians just commit to all the crimes that they want. Because that's the system that it would lead to. That's the slippery slope. Yes, I'm giving you a slippery slope. That a Republican appointed judge cannot be expected to rule over a Democrat.
Except you have a right to a jury, so OJ has a right to get away with it.
I think that there are issues with the OJ thing, but it's that I think there was a doubt. The defense did their job. That's what the defense is supposed to do. So back to my political stance. What was I saying? Yeah, Donald Trump says that a Juan Merchan who paid $15 for a Biden T-shirt is completely incapable of being his judge. Do you stand by that, Thomas?
Say again.
Juan Merchan, the judge in the Trump case, paid $15 for a Biden T-shirt a couple of years ago. Does that make him completely ineligible to be the judge over Donald Trump's trial? Because he's a Republican. He's a Republican
No.
president. No. Okay. I agree with you. I think that
there is a special trust and confidence that we put into people who are appointed in our judicial system.
Okay, I agree.
Such as judges.
Okay.
They are trusted.
Was he wearing the T-shirt under the robe?
Yes, at some point we have to accept that there are going to be failings in our legal system, and also it is still possible for people to be biased. When we appoint someone as a judge, the idea is supposed to be, hey, everyone's human, but your job here is to be as unbiased as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And we are trusting those people to maintain, or to not violate the confidence that we have in them.
I agree. That sounds like a good system. You know who is telling you that you can't trust the system? Fucking Republicans. They're all over that shit. All day, every day. This is rigged. This is rigged. The trial wasn't fair. You can't trust the system. Judges are bad. You can't trust Juan Merchan. He bought a $15 Biden shirt. His daughter's making billions and trillions of dollars off of this trial. They're being anti-American.
Hold on, let me see what this guy looks like. What's his name?
Juan Merchan. Juan M-E. It's like merchant, but M-E-R-C-H-A-N.
Let's see, Juan Merchan.
I can find a photo of him. I think I might even have it one. No.
Yeah, I trust that guy. Just
Wait,
looking at him.
Looking at
I
him?
would trust him.
What does that got to do with anything?
I can tell.
You can tell. Well, shit. We need you to be a judge. You can just tell by looking at people.
Man. Oh, I've. If you ever want to get out of jury duty, tell them when they're asking you, just be like, man, I'm a great candidate for jury duty. I can tell whether they're guilty or not just by looking at them.
Just by looking. I can look right at
You'll
them.
be dismissed immediately.
You got guilty eyes. Look at you. Look at them. You got them guilty eyes. Do YouTube psychologist body language. Tell them you're a YouTube body language expert. And if they blink 17 times rather than 23 times, it's because they're guilty. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Any number of those sorts of things will get you off the hook.
Okay, that'll get you out of jury duty. Great. So
yeah.
only the idiots are still there in jury duty.
Well, usually, I mean,
you're judged by people who aren't smart enough to get out of jury duty. Okay. So that means that it's even more important that
only the idiots and me.
Only the idiots and Popog, because he's interested in that kind of thing. So I don't think it's going to be overturned on procedural stuff. Maybe that Sixth Amendment thing that Popog is talking about will get an appeal. But even then, does the Popog, you think the appeal goes through? Thomas, does this make you feel any differently about Donald Trump, the Republicans, or who you're going to vote for?
No.
No. Okay. Why?
Because I have things that matter to me a lot more than the personality or the moron behind the candidacy. Like, I mean, I have a lot more in common with, Republican ideals than I do with Democratic ideals.
Okay.
And so I'll vote for the guy that's more in line with the stuff that I want. Like, when I want border security, when I look at the two of them, and Biden is pretty much trash at that, and then Trump, had substantial reductions in, the number of crossings per day, I'll take Trump.
Okay.
Just straight up. Like, you look at the stance that each group has, whether or not it aligns with your ideals, and yeah, I'm still gonna vote straight red. It's not even a question at that point.
That's fine. I can respect that. That I am feeling the same way about voting blue, because guess what? Biden sucks at this whole Israel thing. Israel Palestine, he's fucking it up, and a lot of the young kids aren't going to vote for him because of it. The executive order that he put out yesterday for the border is stupid and pointless. And I know what he's doing. He's trying to politic. He's trying to get the middle voters
It's a
to vote
show
for him.
of something. It's a
He's trying to be
show
tough
for the middle voters. Yeah,
Listen, Jack, I'm tough on the border.
We've had
Vote for
this
me.
problem for like the last 3 years of his presidency, and only now is it like, oh, let me be tough on the border, like, sort of, for a second. 3 months before the election.
Right, and I mean,
get the fuck out of here.
That happens because Donald Trump talks about how he's going to arrest the people who try to cross the border, and Joe Biden talks about how he's not going to do so. So that's why they would show up, because they think that the laws will be dictated by the nice guy Joe Biden or the hard ass Donald Trump. I mean, that's why they show up during a Democrat leadership, because they think they'll be taken care of. They think that they won't get turned away.
Yeah, I mean, that is what happens. Like,
Donald
when
Trump
Biden
is gonna arrest the border. What was the border wearing and which way did it go?
I hope it's wearing a wall pretty soon. No,
it's wearing nothing. Joe Biden took down the wall, so it's not wearing nothing. It's naked. That's why we have to arrest the border. It's not wearing any clothes. Okay.
Yeah, our border is streaking from east to west.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And and that's what I'm saying. I can respect the idea that, hey, they have the right idea, so I'm going to vote for them. I'm not too thrilled with this Donald Trump guy. Even if you aren't thrilled with him, he's got the ideas that you like. Even though I'm not thrilled with Joe Biden, he's got the closer to the ideas that I like, and that is
I mean,
why we have to talk it out and figure out how to get better people in charge. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's pretty depressing to see our candidates this year, honestly. I'm not very happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I still will vote for Trump over Biden.
Okay. Is anybody going to? I mean, the polls have shown maybe a couple of percentage points of people who are just not going to vote for him because of this conviction. It's very few people, but there's nobody swapping to the other side. They're just not going to show up and vote.
Well, those sorts of people are not convicted in their reasonings. I think they don't know if this trial results in a person either not voting or switching sides.
I am voting RFK because of this trial.
Those people don't know what it is they support in the first place. They don't have convictions. They don't. They haven't thought deeply about, the direction our country should move in, or what certain policies should look like. They're morons. I'm sorry. Like, if this moves the needle for a person, that person's an idiot.
Do I agree with that statement? Maybe. I mean, I think anybody who believes the words that Trump is saying is an idiot. I think he's a blatant, obvious liar who lies 27 times a day. And if you think that those things are true, a lot of the people on the right do, the hard right wingers, the Matt Gaetzes, your J.D. Vances. J.D. Vance isn't an idiot; he's a grifter. But Maytag's an idiot. I think that they believe these things because they want to believe them because it makes them feel good, and uh, it's not likely that this verdict is going to change their minds. But couldn't this verdict change the mind of somebody who's in the middle who doesn't pay attention? Because to be honest, I'm way more political than a normie. So are you. So is anybody in this chat. Sorry, Popog,
Someone
you're
who's
not
in the
normal.
middle who doesn't pay attention.
hmm They watch The
But
Masked
do
Singer
they have
on
anything that they
Mondays,
care about?
and then they watch football,
Honestly,
and then the normies in the middle, they only care about gas prices and their morning commute.
I'm gonna have a really, really spicy take right now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm painting you a picture of a normie in the middle, doesn't know the difference between a Democrat and a Republican, watches The Masked Singer on Monday nights. They watch football when it comes on. They don't have a special team that they care about, or they care about sports, but they hate all the political stuff. And then they really get upset when they have to pay for high gas, and they're grumpy that they have to commute for an hour.
Okay. Well, if you don't know what it is you're voting for, hot take, don't vote.
Okay. And usually they
Don't
don't.
do it.
And I think you're hitting on something there. They usually don't. The amount of non-voters in the country are higher than the number of people who do vote for both sides combined, if I remember correctly, if I look at the numbers properly. Um,
That's true. And that's how it should be. If
that's how
you
it
are
should
not
be. Okay.
politically engaged, if you don't know what the fuck you're looking at or talking about or what you want out of your country, don't fucking vote. Don't do it.
Okay. And if they, well, okay, they were thinking about Donald Trump, but then this conviction thing comes out and then they don't. Does that make him an idiot? I mean, they just don't
Yeah,
vote for anybody.
what it tells me is that they don't have convictions about how they want the country to be run. They're voting in a popularity contest.
Okay.
If you know how you want the country to be run and you have ideas that you've thought about and you've looked at the parties and seen how they align with your ideas, that's how you make your voting decision. If you make your voting decision based on, well, this guy was convicted at trial,
I believe the left would
that's
celebrate
stupid.
Trump being convicted on obviously false charges robbing a NY store, but he has a rock-solid alibi of being on camera in Florida and vice versa for the right.
Oh, I don't believe you, Popog. I disagree with that entirely. Um, so those people in the middle shouldn't be voting, or they should learn what they think and take a side.
Yeah. I think that the two parties are dichotomous enough at this point, at least in terms of what they're presenting, to where it's much easier to take a side now than it was maybe 20 years ago.
I could agree with that. They are.
If there was a Democrat, for example, that was interested in border security, voting for your party is now impossible if that's your top priority is border security because your party won't do it. On the same note, if you're in the middle and that was one of your priorities, then you might have switched back and forth in the 90s on that subject, but now you can't because it's so obvious which party is going to do what. And the same goes for like If you know, fuck, I have such a hard time. If there are things you don't like about the Republican Party right now,
Mm-hmm.
then your other option is the Democrats, and so do they align more with your values on that subject? Maybe it's on like healthcare, for example. Um, you have to pick a side at this point because they have moved so far apart from one another that being in the middle just tells me you don't know what you're talking about.
The enlightened centrist doesn't exist. I agree. I really don't think that such a thing can exist. Um, I would understand that if you had a few ideas on the left and a few ideas on the right, and you were stuck in between and you couldn't prioritize them. But I think most people can prioritize. Hey, this is important. Hey,
I
this
think
isn't
they can.
important. Yeah, I think they can as well. So yeah, the enlightened centrist is I think a myth. Um, you can be degrees to left or the degrees to the right or something along those lines, but you would have to make a choice at some point. And where was I thinking? So yeah, the polling is only changing it by a couple of percentages, but I think that's enough. Honestly, I'm not even kidding. I think that a couple of percentage points of people not voting for Trump will make him lose. Uh, if Joe Biden wasn't a dork and an idiot and come out there with his border executive order, I think he could have done a lot better. Maybe those in people who aren't paying attention in the middle um, see this as something good. I don't think that they will, honestly. I don't think they'll see this as anything. I think he's just pointing at the sore spot and the worst possible thing he could be pointing at. Um, okay, so um, it hasn't changed your vote. That's fine. I didn't think it would, and I don't think that it should. I'm not going to change mine if Hunter Biden gets convicted tomorrow.
Well, yeah, it's because you're a reasonable person and you have your ideals, right?
Right.
And
So, just like you described. Yeah, I have the ideas, and Donald Trump doesn't represent them.
yeah, and to respond to chat really quick, don't vote but pick a side. No, that's not what I said. What I said is if you don't know how you want the country to be run, if
So
you
if
haven't
Hunter
thought
Biden
in
gets
depth about
convicted, I
this,
am changing from RFK to the Libertarian candidate.
if you haven't thought in depth about like how do you want the country to be run? What policies do you want? And what aligns most with my ideals? Yeah, don't vote. Once you've made those evaluations, yes, vote. Vote for the policies that you have decided are most in line with your ideals. Like, how do you want the country to be
I
run?
don't want the
If you
country to
don't,
run, I want it to dance.
if you don't know, then don't fucking vote.
Voting is your voice, and if you are completely ignorant and don't know how to speak the language, you probably shouldn't talk. Uh,
Yes,
I can
if
I
you
can
don't know
appreciate
what you
that.
want, you are Doodle Bob. You are Nihoi Minoi. That's you. That's it.
I really like interrupting Thomas with Canooch.
I thought maybe you were doing it on purpose, Popog. He's trolling you. And I can appreciate that, and that happened to me a long time ago when I was like 19. My boss at work asked me, who'd you vote for? And I was like, well, I didn't vote. And he's like, well, voting's your voice. And I was like, well, I don't know the difference between the two. Why would I vote for, why would I speak up if I don't know what I'm saying? If I don't know the
Well, yeah,
language, why would I cheer out? If I don't know the words to the song, why would I sing it?
you're smarter than your boss was at
Well,
the time.
he wanted me to become educated. He said, well, you need to then, well, if you are claiming your ignorance, then become educated. That was what he told me. If you know that you're
Okay.
stupid, that's the first step to getting smarter, is knowing that you don't know anything. And I didn't for a couple more years. It wasn't until like 2003 or 2004 I started watching the news or anything like that. But uh,
But nobody who doesn't take the time to understand the issues that we're experiencing and think about how to fix them, they shouldn't be voting.
I can agree with that. If you want to specifically vote on a individual like project or something. If you got local votes, like, hey, we want a 5% tax for this thing, or hey, we want to put a road here, or hey, we want to put a bridge right there, that makes sense that you'd learn about it, then vote on it. But then they send you all the votes, and then I think what happens is all politics are local, so they get interested in the local thing, and then you get roped into one side or the other, which I think is a good idea, honestly. More intelligence, more people thinking about it, more information, more people learning about the things. I think that's great.
Me know English unbadly, I stay vote RFK.
Hey, he interrupted you this time.
Yeah, he interrupted me this time, but I get a split second to know that it's coming, so I wrap up my sentence. You've got a second lag, I think. So I'm definitely winning, yeah, but it's okay. uh, so yeah, that's interesting. That is the way that I thought it would come down. If people come into my chat and start screaming about this Facebook post, I'm gonna let you know. If it comes
You
up
mean
in my
like in 5 years?
Oh yeah, 5 years from now, I think that this is still gonna be like just like the Obama birth certificate. It's still gonna pop up. It's still gonna be there. It's still gonna pop. It's still gonna because it is so thoroughly tied to Donald Trump. Um, we don't. There are lies from other politicians in the past, but I mean, we still. I mean,
Obama.
you and I just argued about fucking OJ, and that shit was in the 90s. I could say the words I did not have sexual relations with that woman, and that I did not have sexual relations with that woman, and that brings up a whole fucking debate. Monica Lewinsky, still a thing that we could argue about successfully right now if we wanted to.
What's there to argue
Yes.
about with Monica Lewinsky?
Oh, that he should have been. Should Bill Clinton have been impeached?
It
Did he
depends
lie?
on what the definition of is.
Depends on what the definition of is. Um, there are people who have opinions about it to this day. There are people who have wrong opinions about it. There are people who believe nonsense about that who might bring it up. There are people who believe nonsense about Obama. There are people who believe nonsense about Trump. There are people who believe nonsense about lots of things, and it won't go away. And it's the whole internet memory that lasts for eternity that I think bothers me. I don't know what to do about misinformation. What do we do about misinformation, Thomas?
Encourage critical thinking.
Okay.
Barbara
And
Bush should have been
on the
impeached.
on the Monica Lewinsky topic,
See?
what is my opinion on it? My opinion is, did Bill Clinton get his dick sucked in the Oval Office by Monica Lewinsky? Yes. Should he be impeached for that? No. There you go.
Okay. He was impeached though.
Uh,
There was,
You can, well,
but they
the
chose
question,
not to. They brought up the
the
impeachment and they
question
chose not to
should,
remove him. Yeah.
right?
And see, we could start an entire fight with certain people about that. We could still fight that. We could still fight that thing. But I think that that's based on belief. I think most
Well, it
of
would
the
be
issues.
pointless
I know it would be
because
pointless, but it's
so far in the past, and Bill Clinton's
yeah, yeah.
got maybe 5 years left.
He was impeached for lying under oath.
Right, he was impeached for lying under oath because they investigated and then he lied while under oath and then they impeached him for that. They didn't remove him through impeachment, but they did the impeachment. It happened. Um, so again, it's everything.
Well, what did they investigate?
They investigated whether or not he had sexual relations with that woman, and then whether or not he lied under oath because they brought him under oath to tell us whether or not he did, and then the definition of is he used
Well,
he used
being impeached for lying under
lawyerly.
oath is a little different, isn't
Right,
it? Though,
right.
because at that point, yes, you can and should be impeached for lying under oath.
And he was, and then the Senate chose because they're Democrats. They had a Democratic
They originally
Senate.
investigated land deals in Wyoming.
Yeah, I think Popo's on something. It was a fishing trip. They went all over the place because when a Democrat is in charge, the investigations just happen. They just spring up left and right all over the place, just like they did with Biden, just like they did with Obama, just like they did with Hillary. Investigate, 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 investigate. Uh, my prediction for the future is that Alvin Bragg is going to be the next one to be investigated, and then Juan Merchan. I think the Republican House is just going to fucking investigate them on anything they can because they were mean to Trump in their mind. I think they were literally doing their jobs, but to a Republican House member, that's them being mean, so we're going to investigate them. And the allegation is all that matters. It doesn't matter that it started in Wyoming and then found out that he got a beach in the Oval Office, and then they investigated that. They're fishing. They're finding things wrong. They're going to go to Alvin Bragg. They're going to find a speeding ticket that he got in 1997, and they're going to make a mountain out of that molehill. And they're going to say that he can't possibly uh, be allowed to be the attorney general who prosecutes Trump. And then they're going to find they've already found the $15 Joe Biden shirt that Juan Merchan bought, and that's going to be the absolute, that they're going to have an entire House hearing about how much money Juan Merchan's daughter made while working for Kamala Harris in 2016. And they're going to scream at you, Thomas. They're going to talk to you. They're going to look at you and say she made money she was hired to do a job as digital marketing by Kamala Harris in 2016, and her father is now the Donald Trump judge. This is blatant bias, and he can't be the judge. And they're going,
I guess.
and they're going to do that to try and trick you. They're going to do that to try and trick the people on Facebook. They're going to do that to try and trick the people, the dummies who barely pay attention, or the flat earthers, or the people who listen to Maytag. The people who listen to her are going to hear that and think it's true. It's not going to be true. It's going to be made up. It's going to be lies, but they're going to believe it because it makes them feel good. And once it makes them feel good, it becomes a part of their identity, and you can't disagree with it anymore. Because all politics is based on feelings.
I don't like that it's based on feelings.
You don't like it, or you don't think it's true?
Oh no. I mean, the conversation we have had today makes it very clear. Like, I think the people who vote based on their feelings should not vote. Like, if that's, I think I made that very clear. Actually, if your feeling about Trump changes based on the trial because you don't like him because he was convicted, as opposed to whether you're voting for principles or not, I don't think that person should vote. Like,
okay, I think that you also think that all politics is based on feelings. You've given me evidence of it today.
have I?
Yeah, the jury in a blue state is definitely going to convict Trump, and a jury in a red state is definitely not. Aren't they doing that based on feelings? Don't you think that's the way it would go?
Oh no. When we're talking politics versus the legal system, I separate those two things in my mind.
Okay, but according to you, the jury can't do that. Isn't that what the point you were trying to make? That the jury didn't? That those dumb blue state Democrats ruled in that jury against Donald Trump with their feelings?
Yeah, there are a lot of
They
people
did that?
who can't separate the two.
So they're in their feelings. But that ruby red Mississippi jury, who then tries Trump
also
and finds him not guilty,
be...
they find him not guilty because of that's not because of their feelings.
Oh, it absolutely can be, and the argument can absolutely be made that way too. I never made the argument that ruby red jury wouldn't be biased. They absolutely would.
So they'd be voting for their feelings as well. All politics
Voting
is based on feelings.
A weird way to describe.
You're right.
The jury process. I refuse the analogy. I'm sorry.
Okay. Did the literal jury we have of blue state jurors vote with their, or not vote, decide that case with their feelings? Do you think that they did?
I think it's possible.
Okay. I don't think they did. The all politics are feelings, sure, but I think through the jury selection, they found out who was and wasn't going to be most in their feelings, and they picked the ones that weren't going to be in their feelings. And that's the suggestion that I would make is hypothetical jury. Ruby Red, Mississippi. They get the venue changed to Mississippi. It's a 98% Trump voting thing. They all vote that he's innocent and not guilty. I'm suggesting that they would also not be in their feelings because the jury process happened properly. What do you think about that sentence that I keep saying? It's my entire fucking thesis, my thesis statement. All politics is based on feelings.
How many MAGA hats in the jury box?
My thought is, people are too stupid. And because of that, yes, most politics is based on feelings. I'll agree with you there.
Okay.
But that's because people are too stupid or too uninterested to actually look at the problems and find solutions for them outside of raiding the treasury. So basically, I just think people are dumb, and dumb people will vote based on their feelings. Yes.
I think everyone votes based on their feelings. Literally, you, me, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, everybody. RFK Jr. is voting based on his feelings. Everybody always has. And I'm
you have to
suggesting
expand the definition of feelings a great deal in order to make that work. Like, could you call it a feeling that I think that my political prescriptions are correct? Well, yeah, okay.
I
You
vote
could
based on other people's feelings.
If you expand the definition of feelings to that point, yeah. But I have reasons why I vote a certain way.
Right.
And I have ideas about why I want things to happen.
Right.
So,
and those are you're going to use facts to get to the conclusions. I agree. The conclusion, if you've got facts, backs it up. But the reason you want those facts, the reason you want to come to that conclusion, the facts are a tool. The feeling is your motivation to use that tool. Hammers are great. I got a hammer back here, and it's a tool. Facts are a hammer. And
it's literally impossible intellectually and psychologically not to have feelings inner, however you can control your outward expression emotions.
I agree with you, Kissing Gonzo. But the
what
motivation
I'm trying to say here
is feeling.
Is even that, okay, but at that point you've reduced it so far that to say that all politics is feeling, it becomes meaningless.
Based on feelings. Not all politics is feelings. All based on feelings. If you want to do things that are better for the American people,
I have no feelings.
That level of reductivist, or excuse me, that level of reductivism, is that the word?
No, I'd say I'm broadening, not reducing anything.
Well, you're reducing it down to the lowest possible level. So, like, everything is based on feelings is a statement that could... Reductionism, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is based on feelings.
All politics are based on
reductivist.
All politics are based on feelings. They're based on feelings.
All politics, you at that point, you can even reduce it down to just everything. Everything's based on
everything
feelings.
is political.
Every action a human
said
takes,
it before. Everything's
political
to a degree.
Whatever.
Sure.
You are engaging in a far too reductivist.
All cooking is based on feelings.
All cooking is based on feelings, Popeye. I agree.
I thought most individuals based their choices on their values and principles, which are heavily determined by your feelings and logic.
What is a value and a principle, if not a feeling of how you want things to run? What is I want good things for the American people, if not a feeling? Is there some America's not on the periodic table? You know, I want good things for the American people. I feel like that's a good idea. You want good things for yourself and the American people, Thomas. I know you do. That's a
All
feeling.
science is based on feelings. Evolution is based on feelings.
Maybe not.
Oh
That's not
shit!
really. I
You
don't. Those
found
aren't
something you don't agree
politics.
with?
I know that science is not really based on feelings. If that's a measurement tool, science is a measuring tool. Evolution is
Well,
a
I mean,
measuring tool. Those
you
are
know,
what we feel about them. How we act after we get the science is a feeling. Why we went to look for that science can be a feeling. Why I go and pick up that hammer can be a feeling. I want to hammer a nail. It's sticking out. It needs to be fixed. I need to fix a thing. I feel like I need to fix that thing. I need to go get that science hammer. The hammer isn't a feeling. The science isn't feelings. Why you do the science could be.
So Waldo is saying science is not political.
It can be, of course, it's political. We're just rearranging the words, is all I'm doing. Uh, Thomas, you were trying to make a point about how I'm
In politics, if
including
we covered
everything.
our principles and values more frequently, we might have more progress. I am sensing a contradiction.
Do you want to finish your point, Thomas? Or you want me to turn Kanuch off for a minute?
I think the chat's making the point for me.
Okay, they're making the point for you. Okay. Uh, contradiction. Everything's political. All politics is based on feelings. That is the thesis that I have come to. The reason you would want to do a good thing for America is because you feel like you should, or you feel like the people who would benefit from the good thing that you're doing deserve it, or they would want it. These are all feelings. And if you are a Republican person who is trying to lower taxes, you feel like the Americans should get that. You feel like that's going to help the American people or yourself, even if you're being completely selfish. But I think that most Republicans are thinking that they will benefit and everybody else will benefit as well. Everyone will benefit from these things. That's why they're pushing it. That's a feeling. The tool that they use, tax collection and tax laws, are tools. Um, and those tools are put in place through politics, sure. You
So I'm gonna stop right there.
Okay.
Hold on, because when you say Republicans feel like a reduction in taxes will benefit the American people,
hmm
um, it doesn't just have to be a feeling. These are things that have been tried before, um, and and probably have been written about and discussed many times. I mean, we're in the
You're
year 2024, and many empires and countries and civilizations have risen and fallen
hmm
in the intervening time, and you can look at the way that those civilizations behaved and say, okay, when they did this, the outcome was this, and
data.
you
You're
can
describing data.
look at
You're
what
describing
happened.
data. Okay.
Yeah, and then, I mean, is it a feeling that I want America to do well? I mean, yes, but okay,
So that's the
that's
base. That's why I say the
that
word
that
based
that's
in feelings.
I I I don't agree with the resulting implications from that. Is because it's based on the feeling
History
that
doesn't really repeat, but it does
I
rhyme.
want um America to do well.
That's a
That, I guess, that's a feeling,
that's a
but
feeling.
when
And
I
that's what
look
you're
at
basing everything on.
that it reduces things down so much that it's worthless. The
It's
the
it's so
notion is not
broad.
worth
I think
anything.
that's a giant broad statement.
It is, and
I'm
it's such a
including
broad
damn near
statement
any
as to be
motivation.
worthless.
I'm including all human motivation in feelings. And I think that's
I want
important.
liberty to do well because I do well when liberty wins.
That's a great feeling you have,
According
Gonzo.
to the Poincaré recurrence theorem, history does repeat.
So, Thomas, so you want that thing to happen based on your feelings. That suggests to me that all politics are based on feelings. Is that a gigantic, broad thing? Yes. I think everything is, every motivation that a human being has is a feeling. If you're
Too
motivated,
reductivist.
how is it
I
reductivist? I think it's so
it can
giant
be
that it
true.
can't be seen. I think it's so
It can be
big.
true while also being useless as a data point.
Sure, everything in the universe is either a potato or not a potato. That's not
The,
helpful.
the
I
statement
agree.
you're making is useless.
How is it useless?
Everything is based on feelings. Okay.
No, all politics is based on
Thanks,
feelings.
Popo. Love learning new things. All
All
politics is
politics
based on
is
atoms.
based on atoms? No. All politics is based on feelings. If you are politically motivated to do a thing, that motivation is the feeling that you have. If you're not motivated to do a thing, then the thing doesn't happen, it doesn't get done, we don't talk about it because it's not politics. Nobody's voting for a thing that doesn't have a base in feelings.
Can we agree that the basis in feelings is irrelevant if our end goal based on our feelings is the same? So if all of us want America to succeed,
Mm-hmm.
then does the reduction to all politics is based on feelings become irrelevant?
Irrelevant? No.
Well, I think it
It's
does.
I'm not you're saying reduction. I'm saying it's a fucking ocean and you're swimming in it and don't know what water is. I'm suggesting that you're a fish who doesn't know what water is. I'm suggesting that it is so goddamn vast that most people never see it. I'm thinking right now. I'm not meaning this as an insult towards you. I think that you're telling me that you can't see the forest because there's a fucking tree in your face. That's what I'm here. That's what
No,
I feel like you're telling me.
that's not. What I'm
I'm
saying
telling
is,
you there's a
okay,
forest, and you're like, nah, man, this is a tree. And I'm like, nah, man,
do
there's a
you and I
forest.
both want what's best for the country?
Yes,
Yes.
that's a feeling we share.
So, okay. Now, how do we achieve that?
Well, you're going to swim to the right, and I'm going to swim to the left.
Well, but the direction we swim should definitely be based on the things that we see in, like, the data we've collected
Sure.
and our information and
In
knowledge of facts,
yeah, in
and
this,
and we
yeah,
should make a logical determination, right?
sure. We should use facts as tools. I'm going to use those facts to swim the direction that I think it most benefits us. But why are we swimming? Because we want the best. Because we want what's good for the country.
Okay.
Feelings.
What I'm saying is that that's a given.
Okay. But not to the normies, not to the people who haven't ever heard that message before. To the
So
people
the
that have,
normies don't want the best for America either.
well, they don't know what they want. They just are based on their feelings.
Maybe
Their
they
feelings
do
are
want.
manipulated by
Well,
the
I'll go
TV,
so far as
by
to
the
say that the
gas
normies
prices.
do want the best for America,
They want the best, sure.
but they have no fucking clue. They haven't thought about it,
Hmm.
about what is actually the best.
Hmm. Right, because they don't think about those
That's
things.
the problem.
I agree. I'm on board with you there. That if you're a normal centrist who doesn't know what's going on, you aren't paying attention. You're a fish in water.
I don't understand how politics isn't based on atoms. All political decisions ever made and ever to be made involve atoms. Checkmate atomic deniers.
I think you're trolling. No, no, there's no the the feeling that I want America to do good has nothing to do with atoms. Has nothing to
The
do with the
Poincare
periodic
theorem
table.
states that certain
Well,
systems
it,
will
it
after a
definitely does have to
sufficiently
do with
long
that,
but finite
actually.
time return to a state
No,
very close to their initial state.
Yes, because in order for you to have those thoughts, you have to have a body and a brain, and that body and brain are made up of atoms. Checkmate, atheist.
okay, great,
So
but
the implication
it
is
doesn't
that
make.
well all return to the cave lol.
We'll all
Name a
return to the
political
cave. No,
decision not involving atoms.
I think we need to appreciate our feelings, recognize that the feelings are there and that someone is having them. These
Check out
feelings.
Waldo's videos
Damn it,
https
Canooch.
Okay,
www.youtubecom at Waldo
Bot
videos.
Rick's official needs to be removed from the Canoosh posting.
Botworks, I know. I don't know how to turn her off without turning everybody off. I'm not very smart.
Oh.
Um, I'm hoping that maybe someone's watching them, so like, oh yeah, I want to watch all those videos. That's the plan anyway. I don't know that it works. Anyway, the reason that I keep bringing it up is that I keep coming back to it. The person who believes
At Popo
is a
G42, the
problem.
trick is to determine which atoms.
Belief is the problem.
That
This is the
person is made out of atoms, by the
okay,
way.
and that
So everything comes back to atoms.
that's the building block, sure. But what are they thinking? Why are they thinking? Why does
Well, the
this?
atoms made up their
At
brain.
Kissingonzo, the atoms which support my positions, duh.
You see how ridiculous this is getting, right? Like
Oh, I was on
we can
top of something. I was doing severe, important analysis of the human condition, and you guys are derailing me with atom nonsense. Uh,
your analysis just is too reductivist. That's the problem.
reductivist. I think it's the opposite. I think it's so grand. I think it's so giant. I think it's an ocean. And you're telling me that I'm reducing it to an ocean. Well, yeah, it's a fucking ocean. It's pretty goddamn big. And the people are swimming through that ocean not knowing that they're having feelings.
You know what that
Or they're
ocean's made
being
of?
tricked. Atoms,
Atoms.
great.
Derailing, and what are the rails made of atoms?
Atoms, son of a bitch. Uh, your theory of everything is working out there, Popog. Uh, where do human values exist on the periodic table? They
We're
don't.
sprinkling the political soup so the algorithm brings new follows.
I hope so. The point I'm trying to get, why I'm saying it's not atoms, is justice isn't on the periodic scale. Mercy isn't in. It doesn't have a peptide chain. You know, happiness isn't something that you can fill a cup with. So that's why I'm saying that those things are feelings. You can feel like justice was done, or you can feel like injustice was done. You brought up OJ. You feel that justice was not done there based on the facts that you saw. I'm not saying that you're not basing that on facts.
Justice has always been conducted using atoms.
Justice, no. Popog, you find it on the periodic table. Where is justice on the periodic table, Popog? You go search that and let me know.
All right. I think this has gone on long enough.
I think this is the
Let's
most
talk
interesting
about.
bit. Okay, yes, bring it up. What do you got?
I want to respond to
Name
chat.
a justice that lacked atoms. Being indignant is being emotionally and morally outraged, combined feelings and logic.
It's all feelings all the way down, Gonzo.
Being born in the USA doesn't make you an
Boom.
American. Form an opinion by 18, or else you're un-American.
Uh,
I don't think I said that.
I don't think you said that either. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's what Thomas said either, Souls. I think that Thomas is being anti-ignorant here, but I'm also anti-ignorant. I don't think that you should.
He'll say it.
You're allowed to vote while knowing nothing. You're entirely allowed to do so if you're an American. If you are without knowing what you're doing, voting for things, I don't think you're doing it effectively. If you're voting just on the guy who's tallest, I mean, that's a choice that you can make. I think it's a bad choice. I think it's an ignorant choice. And I think Thomas would agree with me on there.
Yeah, it form an opinion by 18. So I guess there's a couple of ways to talk about this. The first one is I don't necessarily think
I
that
vote by coin flip. What's the prob GD?
that being American and voting
Form an
are
opinion by
the
18
same
or
thing.
you're un-American.
I think you can be American and not vote.
Right, I agree.
American is a nationality.
Right, I agree.
You hold citizenship status in the United States of America. That voting is entirely separate from that. And I think that to be a voter, you should be informed. Being ignorant and not coming up with an opinion, which, by the way, can change. There are plenty of people who have been far right that move to the left, and plenty of people who have been far left that move to the right over time, and their opinions are still just as valid, and their vote still counts. They that the idea that not choosing a side is un-American sounds silly to me.
The way I
I'm not.
understood what you were saying was that you shouldn't be ignorant.
No, we shouldn't. Well,
Okay. And I
being
can agree with
ignorant
that.
is fine, I suppose, as long as you then don't vote based on your ignorance.
If you're ignorant of basketball, I don't know who the best player is, hardly affects my life, you know? If I am ignorant of the laws that I am expected to follow, that might affect my life a little bit. If I'm ignorant of the plight or problems that people in my country are having with their lives, then I would be dangerously ignorant, slightly.
Well,
Um,
let's. I'll put it. You inspired me with an
mhm,
idea here, actually. Um, when I say don't vote, um, I think of the NFL.
okay,
Okay, and in the NFL, they have something called the Pro Bowl, and
okay.
the Pro Bowl players get a bonus for going to it, and it's in Hawaii, I think, and
Sounds fun.
it's supposed to be like a fun event, and it's a bonus for like all the best players in the league, but it's voted on based on like there's like fans vote for it, and then other players vote for who goes to go to the Pro Bowl and whatnot. And all I'm saying is, uh, if you don't know, or if you don't watch the NFL at all, why would you vote on the Pro Bowl?
I agree. If
Like,
if I don't
to
watch
vote on
football,
the Pro
if
Bowl
yeah,
is to do a disservice to everyone who does watch the NFL that cares about the sport.
I agree. Is that a problem that happens a lot? That a whole bunch of people are uh, voting on the thing that they don't know about within the Pro Bowl? I don't know if it is.
No,
I don't know if anybody's ever
no,
checked
because
per
people
se,
that
but
don't follow the NFL don't vote on the Pro Bowl. And as a person who follows the NFL, I don't vote on the Pro Bowl either. But as an example, when you expand that and then say, okay, I want to apply the same principle to politics.
mhm.
If you don't know what it is you're voting for, if you don't know why, if you don't have principles, just don't vote. I don't think that's a tough ask.
And that is a choice that every American can make, and that's why I'm agreeing with you here. Um, do I want them to be educated? Yes. Do I want them to understand? Do I want them to come into the Waldo stream and listen to me and you talk about it? Yes. Do I want them to become better informed? Yes. But if they
Yes,
choose
that would
to
be the
not be
ideal
informed,
scenario.
yeah,
The ideal scenario would be everyone in the country is politically informed
hmm,
and motivated, knows what they want and how and has an idea of what policies they should be pursuing to get it, and they should all vote yes. That is the ideal scenario. In the meantime,
yeah, I agree.
while we pursue that scenario, people who are not informed, who don't know what they want, who vote based on nothing more than their feelings about a particular candidate, stop.
Yeah, at this point in time, they're choosing to be uninformed. At this point in time, they're choosing not to know what's going on. And that's an acceptable choice because I believe in freedom. If you don't want to know about basketball, then don't. If you don't want to know about the Pro Bowl, then don't. If you don't want to know about politics, then don't. That's fine with me. If you choose not to vote, that's also an acceptable choice by me because I like freedom. And that I think that's the point you were trying to make. Sewell's, does that make sense? That the position we're coming from. A woman or a person of color not being able to vote has historically made them feel disenfranchised and disrespected in their own country, a la un-American. Yes, if you don't have the right to choose your life and the world around you, then you would be unhappy with that, and you would fight to get that freedom. Yeah,
I think that also there's a definitely distinction between, hey, don't vote versus you are not allowed to vote
exactly. Huge difference
are
between
two
those two.
different things.
Yeah, I agree. That's a big difference.
I don't think I've ever suggested taking away voting rights from people.
Yeah, I don't think you have either. And I think, yeah, there is a huge difference between those two things. We're moments away from inventing the Electoral College.
The Electoral College has been neutered substantially to the point where it's a non-factor, I think.
A non-factor?
Well, so the Electoral College is supposed to be a group of people who are elected to then go make the election for president happen and whatnot. But it's at the point where most states have mandated the decision of the Electoral College. Like, so you vote for, technically speaking, the Electoral College, who then goes and votes for the president. But at this point, we vote for the president as people, and then the Electoral College are mandated to vote for the president based on those votes. So there, maybe originally the idea was a level of separation, right? To where your Electoral College might not vote for Trump, even though the people generally voted in favor of the electoral candidates who would have voted for Trump. Now it's the Electoral College is a formality where they're sort of just mandated to go vote for whoever the popular vote of the state is. That makes sense?
Yes, I think the thing you're describing is a technicality, a formality. I agree. The numbers are not right, though. The number of people within the states, within those electoral colleges, are the things that are being disputed. There should be more
well, right,
for
and that's
California.
always
There should be,
disputed. I think that
sure.
I would be more okay with an electoral college system that was actually an electoral college system and not just a formality.
If it's a formality, get rid of it. But then we're not going to get rid of it. Why aren't we going to get rid of it? Because the Republicans feel like they're not going to win anymore, or they will win less often. And Democrats feel like they would win more often. See what I did there?
Sure, I think.
Their feelings. It's based on feelings. You see, everything's based on feelings. There's so much of it you don't even know it's there. Republicans feel like they won't win if the Electoral College is done away with. Hence, they defend it. The Democrats think that they will win more often without the Electoral College, so they fight to get rid of it. And
and Popok says technically the faithless electors can still violate the state law, but they have to suffer consequences. I'm saying that the idea of a faithless elector should not exist if we are to have an electoral college.
If it doesn't function very well, and I'm disputing the numbers, and you're calling it a formality, let's get rid of it. It's not doing what it's supposed to do. And there's a chance of faithless electors. This sounds like a terrible idea. Let's get rid of that. It's a relic. It's left over. We also don't use horses anymore, or horse-drawn carriages, or bayonets. Let's get rid of all that. We got rid of all those things. Let's get rid of this too.
I don't know. I mean, the system should work theoretically, and I think faithless electors should be allowed. I find that annoying.
They should be allowed to do the opposite of what their state said and then face the consequences?
Yeah, well, we should be voting on the electors, and then the electors should be the ones that vote for the president. Yeah.
So a republic kind of thing.
That is what the United States is.
Right, and that's why I'm saying it. rather than a direct popular vote for the president, we vote for the representatives. The representatives decide who ought to be
Yeah,
the president.
yeah, that's the idea.
Uh,
That's kind of how we were built
that
originally.
sounds like less freedom to me, which is why I'm going to be against it.
That sounds like a terrible idea of more freedom
How
in
is
that case.
how
Well,
does
because
taking
we've already
away?
agreed, I think, right, that people being ignorant is a huge problem in the electoral process. The idea of hiring electors who are not ignorant is sort of the point of a republic, is we have these people who are supposed to be engaged in the political life and understand what it's like to be, at every echelon of society,
Mhm,
and they make the voting decisions in the end. That's what a republic is supposed to be.
mhm,
Democracy is what you are uh, espousing, I
mhm.
suppose, or advocating for. I think democracy on its face is, compared to republic, democracy is a bad idea. A republic is a great idea.
Okay, because the people are not willing to know enough. They're choosing ignorance, or they're choosing not to know the things, or they're choosing based on just who has the cooler haircut and has the nicer teeth.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because when you make this a popularity contest, democracy becomes a sham. It's a failure.
Mm,
The republic system is much better. You elect people who then represent you, and you do that for everything. So we elect people that represent us in Congress, we elect people that represent us in the Senate, and then also we elect people that represent us to vote for the president. Would be a great idea, and I think that's how the idea used to work. And it's only in recent decades that the states have said you're not allowed to vote against the state as an elector in the electoral college.
yeah, that seems like less freedom to me. It seems like more response, more. It seems more stable, but I'm not pushing for stability. I'm pushing for freedom, and it seems like less freedom to me. The thing that you described there. Republics are less free than a democracy. Wouldn't you agree?
That's true, and I I think that freedom as a value is, I think you're overvaluing it.
Oh, okay. And I should value. And would you suggest that you value more stability, order, that kind of thing? Or
Structure, yeah.
structure? Okay, structure. You can. I don't mind calling it that. Um, yes, structure is pretty much the
I think
opposite
there
of
is
chaos. I'm
absolutely a
on board for that.
balance to be struck
Mm-hmm.
between structure and freedom,
Mm-hmm.
and I do think that the republic model is probably the right one. I don't like the democracy model. I think
Mm-hmm.
that leads to the idiots being in charge of the nation, and I also don't like anything that's more stringent than the republic model, which would be like you know, a dictatorship or
The
whatever.
dictatorship, the authoritarianism. Then so yeah,
Right. There's a
there's a
balance to be
scale.
struck. I think the
Yes.
republic is the right balance.
Um, the republic is the right balance. Okay. And if we go any further to the right than that, then you would get authoritarianism, or you would get dictatorship, or then a further left. And then if you go to the further left of that republic, what you get is increased democracy, or straight up 100% pure democracy, which I'm
Chaos.
probably not a big fan of myself as well. I'm all right with having the representatives. I'm all right with having the senators. I'm all right with having a electoral college, as Popog, I think, mentioned that it should be ceremonial. If it's ceremonial and it's based on percentages of people in their state, the percent of people in the state, if the state goes up by a large amount of population, they would get more electoral votes, and if the state's population goes down, they would get fewer. And it's ceremonial. If that's the direction we go, I think it's worthless and pointless. I think it's pointless, is what I'm saying, of the electoral college itself.
Well, I agree. that's what I'm saying. I
Mhm.
think that the electors should be not like
You don't
under
want it to
the
be
current
ceremonial.
system.
Yeah.
Under the current system, we reasonably could just replace the electors with an AI system that just does what we tell it to. I'm saying that when we vote for the electors should be allowed to be faithless, and we need to take that into account when we vote for the electors. Right? We shouldn't the voting that we do, the representation should not be directly for the president. We should be electing the electors, and the electors should then be electing the president.
I don't like that system at all. Why muddy it? Why overcomplicate it with people who can take your opinion and then do the opposite of what the people asked for? Why is that helpful to me? Why is that beneficial?
Did they ask for it though?
Did they ask
I
for it?
mean, realistically,
The people, the majority
who's
of the state.
asking for Donald Trump versus Joe Biden? And under my system, could we have the electors choose someone else? Yes.
Just because they want to? Then we'd have 78 different electors choosing 78 different people. The party, I'm talking about, well, okay. The Electoral College doesn't choose who the parties nominate. It doesn't now. It never has. Do you think that it would in the future? In this hypothetical that you're building, would the parties still exist? Would the voting still happen? I'm confused on how this is working.
The voting would still happen. You could list your preference on your ballot, and then you vote for the electors, and the electors could say, "Hey, if I'm one of the electors for the college, this is the candidate that I most strongly prefer." And you elect those representatives to the Electoral College.
Uh-huh.
And then when they all get together, they come to an agreement about who they eventually elect.
They would never come to an agreement.
You'd have to have a majority.
There would
rule,
never be an agreement. It would never happen without some sort of first pass. You would have to have a majority. So I'm all right. I understand that a majority is 50% plus one. That leads to two choices. And it leads to the two parties, which means that the parties wouldn't change and the party structure wouldn't change. You would just change how
is actually expressing accurately how this should work. The people who are nominated shouldn't matter. And yes, the electors could choose you and Kamala Harris as the president and vice president.
That
they could,
system can't possibly exist.
It does exist.
It doesn't, and it can't, and I don't know how that it would.
That's the system. When we elect the electoral college, now the thing that is different that's bucking the original idea is the idea that the electoral college can't vote for someone other than the nominated candidate.
Right.
From the party. Like, our system was not even designed with the idea of parties in mind. So when we elect the electoral college, the idea that they should be forced to vote for a particular candidate once they're elected is ridiculous.
That's how the system has to work. The people of Texas have voted for Donald Trump, and the elector is a secret psyop. He's part of the deep state, folks. He told us all the right things. He said, "I'm going to vote for Donald Trump every single time," and he was a liar. And he's a liar.
And they've told this elector,
and then he goes and votes for
Donald Trump.
And then he goes and votes for Biden because he's a liar. He's a plant. He's a secret. George Soros funded. He's been paid billions of dollars by George Soros to do exactly this. And then he votes for Biden. That doesn't make any sense. That means there should be a law forcing you to do what the people said. That's why that law that you're talking about, where the electors can't be faithless against the law, it's against the law for faithless electors, is a good idea. because they'll just
I
lie.
don't think so, and I don't think the people are always right.
The people are the ones who have to choose. Can they choose representatives to pass tax structure? Sure. Should they choose who is in charge of the country? Yes. Not choose people who choose for them. I don't think that's a good system. The people who choose for them will simply lie or do whatever's best for them. All people are corrupt. That's power, isn't it? The thing you're describing is a power to choose who is going to be the president. Power corrupts.
Well, in fact, even as what is this? Kissing Gonzo
Mhm.
just posted, the Electoral College was designed to prevent a candidate like Trump from
Right.
becoming president.
And it didn't
And
work.
it's the system. Well, it didn't work because
it's a piece of shit
the
that we need
system
to
got fucked
abandon.
with.
It's broken, and we
No.
need to abandon it. It's a part of your house that is broken and does not function anymore. You chop it off and replace it with something else.
No. The system, as it was designed, was never meant for the Electoral College to be forced to vote for a particular candidate. You're supposed to elect the Electoral College, and then the Electoral College goes and votes for a candidate.
Don't they get that? How do they make that decision? Don't they make the decision based on the people that voted in their state?
Sure, but you would absolutely think that the Electoral College, the people that are involved in it, are more politically engaged than the average voter, which is the idea.
Okay.
They should have an idea of, should I actually vote for this person, yes or no? And of the Electoral College, those people, they can make that choice. I understand that the state made this decision
But the state is wrong.
in
The
terms of the
people are
popular
wrong.
vote. I think the people are wrong,
I
and
feel
I will
that
make
the
this
people are
choice.
wrong.
I think
He feels
the people are wrong.
that the people are wrong. And that, again, would be a terrible thing. I think that I feel, because all politics is based on feeling, that if this person got the results, from Texas, and it said Trump, and he voted for Biden instead, he is harming the people of Texas. He's harming them. He's
All right, let
taking away
Popog
their
on.
agency.
I
He's
need this
taking
bathroom
away their
anyway.
freedom. He's harming them. You're right, Thomas. The Electoral College has changed. It was doing a thing because we didn't have the technology to do a full one-on-one, one person, one vote system. We didn't have that ability, and it would take years to count up all the votes. We didn't have electricity. It had to be carried by a fucking horse. I dig the idea of the Electoral College existing in 1776. It makes sense for that to exist. You go to your state, you ask the people, you do a little bit of a vote within the people, and then they elect who they want to make that decision. Because again, they don't have Twitter. Their fucking newspapers come out weeks later, and they don't know what happened. So they elect someone to go and do that job for them. That makes sense. Doesn't make sense anymore. It is a dinosaur. It is a coal-burning stove.
It's not. It's a great system.
It is
It
the
should
ice
be
box.
working the way that I'm describing it, and it's not because the states have fucked with it so much. Just let Popog on, and he'll explain. I need to use the bathroom.
Okay. Popog, if you want to come on, you're more than welcome. Hop into the voice debate chat, and I don't care what was. I don't. Icebox. We don't have them anymore. You have a refrigerator. We've invented something better. Stagecoaches. We don't have those anymore. You don't need them. Horse-drawn carriages. You don't have those. We don't need them anymore. The Army doesn't teach bayonets and have a bunch of horses. We don't need them anymore. Mr. Popog is here. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello, I'm on mobile because I have to watch my daughter watch TV, so sorry about that.
Oh, no, you sound good to me so far.
All right, you chuckle fucks.
Yes. We're arguing what is and what isn't and what ought. We're all over the road today.
So the original design of the Electoral College, as it's sort of debated, right?
Mhm.
So first, House and the Senate, right? So the House and the Senate are agreed upon basically as a compromise in balancing power between heavily populated states and more rural states, right? Because you need the idea is to create a union of states,
Mhm.
right? And so states want to have some defense where they're like, we don't want the big states to just bully and get all the money and get whatever they want because we don't have any votes, right? So that's why
Mhm.
there's these, sort of minimum numbers of representatives based on population, and then there's also the Senate where you get two no matter what,
Sounds good.
right?
It's a
So that
system.
whole compromise gets created to balance out the power between the more urban states and the more rural states.
Mhm.
And then when creating the executive branch, they're like, we want to have basically that same compromise, right? We want the executive branch, and originally some drafts are like, we will just have the House and the Senate pick the president,
Mhm.
right? So a more parliamentary
Parliamentary system,
type
right?
system. Yeah, not directly parliamentary because they're not like picking one of their own. But whatever. But eventually, a new system is devised where they're like, wait. That gives Congress too much power, right? We don't want parliamentary systems because it's like now the legislative branch is controlling the executive branch, and we're trying to balance our powers, separate powers, and
They
have them
become
fight
an
each other.
aristocracy almost.
Yeah,
There's a
exactly.
caste system that comes into play with republics. I think Thomas is
So
still in the bathroom, but I'm going to throw that at him in a minute.
the idea was, okay, let's create a new legislature that only picks the president. And that's what they do. They meet every 4 years and they pick the president, and then they don't meet again, basically,
Okay.
right? And that's what the Electoral College is, right? So the sort of original thesis of it is you're not voting for Trump, you're not voting for Biden, you're voting just like you're voting for Bernie Sanders or whoever your representative is in normal Congress. You're also voting for Joe Schmooley. And now Joe Schmooley says, I'm a Biden supporter. Biden's my kind of guy. I'd probably pick him when the election rolls around. And that's who you're voting for.
I'm back,
And
and yes, thank you.
That's not on the ballots. It's got
so
Biden or Trump on the ballot.
that's because that's how the states have chosen to run it. So in states get to choose, just like states get to choose how they send their electors, right, or their representatives, right? They can choose however they want. It just has to be vaguely democratic. If the governor picks your senators, that's fine. If the governor picks your representatives, that's fine. It just has to be done every 6 years, and it has to be vaguely democratic. And the same rules apply to picking your electoral college members. So every state gets to set up how it picks what electoral college members it's going to send. So states could send them by district, right? They could say, just like you have a representative from your district and you have a state senator, one of two that you vote for, right? Here in Washington, I get to vote for one of the senators and I get to vote for one or two representatives. I don't remember. It could have been that Washington could choose to send its electoral college votes that way, and it could put their names on the ballot instead of Trump and Biden, right? But instead, Washington says we're going to send all of our votes to one person. So instead of Joe Schmooley running against Ann Wickham's, right? And one of them is voting for Trump and one of them is voting for Biden. They actually pool all of the electors into one ticket and all of the Democratic electors into another ticket, and I get to vote between those two tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how pretty much every state does it. But states are allowed to do whatever they want, which is why, like, what North Dakota has a special one-off electoral vote that it does through some, I don't know, did the groundhog see its shadow or whatever?
Okay. But what would the ballot look like under your system, Thomas? What would the ballot look like? Would it have Joe Schmooley, 70% supporter of Donald Trump, and then Ann Smith, 70% or 38% sure that Biden's totally cool? What
Yep.
would it look like? That's insane. That leads to more ignorance. That leads to even more difficulty for the normies to comprehend what the hell's going on.
I still trust both of them, probably more than I trust the average voter to select the president accurately.
I trust that they will be immediately gobbled up by special interests and lobbyists who tell them what to do.
I trust the exact opposite. I think it would immediately turn into what it did turn into, and the evidence I have is it did turn into this,
Turn
where
into
what you
what?
would have is Joe Schmooley signs a contract with everyone that says, I will go to jail if I don't pick Joe Biden, right? And that's what's happened, is
That makes it
you
even
can,
more useless and pointless and unnecessary.
well, that I kind of agree, but that's the point, I think, against Thomas in terms of having it be actual representatives, is that clearly that just evolves into the current situation, because those people, they aren't voting on anything else. They're not picking anything based off of any news or whatever. And anyone's allowed to run. So I can run. So Popog can
Hmm.
run in Washington. And if Popog wants to get elected to this position, Popog's going to have to convince voters. And the way Popog is going to convince voters is by signing a pledge to vote for RFK. Right? Like, and
Okay.
now that I've signed the pledge, I'm a ceremonial person, right? And so I don't think there's, like, unless you ban pledges, which I don't think you can legally. I don't think there's a way in which you can legally enforce banning this. Um, you're going to end up with a system that we currently have of a ceremonial electoral college, which I still support. I think it's great. I love the balance, but I'm totally fine with removing the people and turning them into pieces of paper. Because they're ultimately going to be.
They're
Like,
just a
no
piece
matter
of
what,
paper. That's fine with me. I'm upset with the numbers per state not changing based on population.
I love the numbers not changing exactly the way that our Senate doesn't change and our House vaguely changes. It's a perfect balance.
Okay.
Perfectly balanced as all things are meant to be.
Then if it's perfectly balanced, why do the Republicans feel like we can't get rid of it because they'll never win again? Why do the Democrats
Because
feel like it needs to be got done away with because it's not uh, doing the will of the people?
because both of those groups will feel nonsense no matter what, so I don't really care what they feel.
Okay. Thomas, what would the ballots look like? And why do you trust those people more than the people who are doing the voting?
Because the people who are doing the voting aren't politically engaged usually. I'm talking about the people that are swayed by uh, the trial that just happened, or the people that could be swayed by Hunter Biden's trial.
So,
Okay.
Thomas, if you want this, you can do this under the current system without changing the way the federal election rules work at all. You just have to convince your state to change how it picks the electors. And like I said, I think you can, there is a way you can, I think, dodge it, which is instead of having people like you still keep the same thing where you're like, you have essentially Joe Biden on a ticket versus Donald Trump, not Joe Schmooley versus Ann Smith, right? But instead of picking all that, what you're going to do is you're going to vote for your state Senate and your state House, and you're going to pick people to do that. And those people are going to pick if your state is voting for Joe Biden or Donald Trump, right? You're not going to pick them. Your state Senate and your state House and maybe your governor are all going to pick who you send, right? And if you want to have it be not the real legislature, make a fake legislature that does this one thing, right? But you can always put more levels of representatives between you and the people you're voting for to achieve this kind of a result.
Right, which I'm not opposed to doing that. I mean, when I'm on the stream, I'm making prescriptions for, like, the whole country and what should be done. Not it certainly is not the case that I'm uninvolved in local politics in the places that I am.
But do you need California to participate in this instead of just whatever Midwest state you're in?
Well, I am currently in California, so
Oh, my condolences.
yeah, it's pretty rough. Um, but yeah, I mean, ideally, all the states would participate this way.
But why does it matter relative to, I mean, if you can convince, let's say you move to your beloved state of Greater Idaho or whatever, and you convince them to choose to send their electors in this new semi-faithlessable way, right? Why do you need California to buy on board for doing it that way also?
Well, I don't understand what the difference is between what I'm prescribing and the system as it exists, except for the fact that the states have made it illegal to be a faithless elector.
Well, okay, so even if the states don't make it illegal, the electors will make it illegal. That's sort of how we got in the state of the states making it illegal, is that voters wanted to know who they were voting for, right? And like it's never basically been having the electors' names on the ballots, right? It's almost always had the actual candidates' names, and people wanted to have that assurity that the elector that they were voting was actually going to vote the way that they promised to vote ahead of time. And so states more or less just enabled that. They just enabled electors to make those pledges. So
Okay, so maybe I'm just spitballing here, but maybe would a better system be if we didn't hold presidential elections and instead our Senate elected our president every 4 years?
The
I mean, there's
Senate by
obviously a bunch of
itself?
different
I don't.
costs
I don't think
on
that's a good idea. If you wanted to rework to include the House, maybe I could be more on board with it. But the idea of a faithless elector just drives me nuts. I can't even imagine why you would want a system that would lead to more of it. That's what I think your system would do. It would lead to more faithless electors, not fewer.
I mean, one of the ultimate reason was so if you imagine that instead of having the ordinary system that we have right now, where basically you don't have faithless electors, if we had a system where it was all of the state senates and governors picking who was going to be president, right? Then you probably wouldn't have ended up with Trump, because the traditional Republican establishment would have said, well, to hell with that. We're going to pick, I don't know who was like Jeb Bush or something, right? Like whoever
Jeb.
was ending whoever got closer in the primary, right? They probably would have ended up being picked because the Republican establishment would have been like, well, we'll do anything but Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you would have faithful electors, is because you would want them to not pick Trump, because they're
Save
like,
us
Trump is a
from
crazy person.
the bad people. I don't like that either. I don't want somebody else to make that decision. I don't like it when they make my decisions for me.
Well, our system, first of all, the decisions are being made for you either way. And the way our system works right now is we're voting between Trump and Biden.
Yes.
Like, this is a bleak outcome. I'm sorry, but the things that we are doing right now are not working.
And if my state votes for Biden and then the elector goes in there and changes it to Trump, I'm upset.
Or if your state votes for Biden and then the elector goes in and votes for
Jeb Bush,
who's
I'm
a
still upset.
palatable candidate for you.
If he goes in there and votes for Bernie, I'm still upset because now we lose to Trump.
What if enough of the electors decided
he can't.
Bernie's the right candidate?
Yeah, you can't lose. So let's say that Biden gets the most votes, right, by what would be a faithful system, but then some faithless electors start switching to Bernie. There's no possible way Trump can win still, because Trump still can't reach the total required. As long as none of the Biden people switch over to Trump, if just some Biden people switch over to Bernie, if Biden would have won had nobody switched, it's not possible for Biden or
He hasn't
for
hit that
Trump to
magic
win.
261 or whatever number it is.
Yeah, it's 283.
283, that's the one. Yeah. He hasn't hit the 283, so he can't win either. So now we have somebody with 200, somebody with 200, and Bernie with 83.
Yep, and they just have to keep voting. And if you guys want to look up the 1876 election to see how fun it can get,
Right. That's what I was thinking, is that this has happened before. In a more
sure has.
contemporary source, it's happened in the House with the House Speaker of the House. This
I believe the
happened with the
number is
Republicans in the
276, actually.
276. Is it?
Oh, sure. I have no idea what number it is.
There's a magic number that you can't win. It's
It's
first
the
past the
magic
post.
number.
I was
So
guessing.
if you don't pass the post, you don't win.
Okay, great. Then what we get is eternal gridlock, just like in those 15 votes, just like in the past when they didn't have the numbers, when they didn't have the stuff, and then the people, those electors just do what's best for their state, and the people don't get a say in it. I don't like this system. I don't like this at all. I want more freedom. I want more democracy. I want more people to vote. I want more people to have a say in what they're getting and what they're doing and what's gonna happen.
In order for them to have that say, they have to be educated on it, and none of them are taking the time to do so.
That's a different discussion. If you think that the people aren't educated, then that's an education discussion. That's a
Well, no, it's
discussion
a
of what's
matter
on
of,
TV.
are you engaged? Are you reading the news? Are
Mhm.
you watching, I don't know, live streams
Are you
about politics?
registering to vote?
Like,
It's not easy. Most places, there's a few steps to go through in which to do so, and
it's super easy. What the fuck are you talking about?
well, it's okay. You have to try. Nobody's accidentally registered to vote.
It's not a negative level of effort.
It's
No,
not a negative level of effort. Yes. Okay. Good point.
your effort must be greater than
So
0,
you've
but
at
it's
least
probably
put
less
in
than 2.
one effort. You've put in one effort. Great. You've put in one effort. I
Is it
want
a metric
your
unit of effort or a
it's
standard
one
unit of
And
metric
effort?
unit of
somebody
effort.
else can also, like, bring you the forms and just be like, sign here, and then you're registered.
Great.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm suggesting that if
I
they've gone
think
through the trouble of registering, if you've put in one unit of effort, that you shouldn't just be overwritten by by a faithless elector.
I think let me pitch this to you, Thomas. What if you change it so that it takes 1 unit of effort to register to vote, and it takes 2 units of effort for me to deregister you to vote? So then you can keep registering, and I just have to keep putting in twice as much effort to deregister you. And now the people who do all of the research can put in that effort to get up and start voting, and then the people who don't care enough, they all get deregistered because somebody goes out and deregisters them.
That sounds awful. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, me personally, if that system came into place, I'd probably be a professional deregisterer.
Just all day, every day, sitting there at the voting deregistration center.
Right, and
Yes.
you'd make a salary. You'd be paid by your numbers, but then my side would hire just as many people, and we'd spend that money, and then those people all spend their money, and they all get taxed, and then those people all buy food and pay rent and stuff like that, and now we have an economy. It,
Yeah, it's a good system. See,
I hate this
I'm
idea.
I
really
hate this idea.
I'm
Yes. Um,
Yeah, no. I just think that the Republic is the better model anyway.
And I think that's where
Um,
we've gotten to. I'm agreeing with Popog and suggesting that it is ceremonial and hence unnecessary. Thomas, would you be saying that it is ceremonial at the moment and hence needs to be further empowered?
yeah, that's exactly what I'm
Okay.
saying. Yes.
Okay.
Hence, unnecessary is the wrong view of it. I think it's currently ceremonial and it shouldn't be.
Okay. I'm thinking it is currently ceremonials, and let's get rid of it. So, and there's our two opposing directions that we could go toward giving it more authority, more power, more choice that it is gonna get from the people, and be more of a republic, or we get rid of it because it's not doing anything, and I think it's unnecessary. So there's our two sides. That
Or our
will,
third side
or our
of
third
it's
side,
ceremonial and thus perfectly balanced, and we should keep it exactly as it is.
standing completely still, Popog, protecting the status quo. He's a damn Democrat. Filthy lib, I'm on to you. Stand completely still. Don't change anything. Okay.
Oh no,
And
the faithless electors would absolutely turn everything to the right forever. Just saying.
under your system or under the current?
Oh, under my system. If
Oh,
they
so you're admitting that it's
I have,
entirely corrupt and gonna
I have no
benefit
idea
you?
why you
Okay.
think that would be the case.
I
I don't know. That sounds crazy to me. I feel like it's much more likely to be the opposite.
I thought we were coming to some sort of conclusion, but now you've upset the apple cart. What?
Oh well, see, people that are politically engaged generally start to move towards the right unless they have worms in their brain. So when you elect people who are politically engaged to elect your representatives and whatnot, they'll be on the right.
Not sure if trolling, but gonna move on from there
I am
before
trolling.
Okay, good.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay. I was like, wait, okay. I don't think he's. I think he's trolling. It's been a shit posty kind of day, so I appreciate it. Moving to the burbs, yeah. Everybody mandated white picket fences by law. You have to have a white picket fence. It's the law now. Okay, it's.
Oh my God, the amount you move your mouse is
I know. I'm thinking.
distressing.
I'm thinking. You can see all my mouse stuff now. So what are we doing today? Okay, I think that's it for the politics. Popog, any parting thoughts?
Nope, I never have any.
Okay, I know, and that's why I ask. I think it's fun. I appreciate you coming on, and I always appreciate you on chat and coming on to argue with us. Thomas, any concluding thoughts before we close up for today?
Gold team rules.
Excellent. Good point. Kissing Gonzo, thanks for being in chat. If you, I don't know if you want to come on stream, but sometime just hit me up, send me a message. You've been in chat plenty of times. I trust that you're not going to be a shit poster. And that is it for me today. I'm going to go and eat some lunch. I appreciate everybody who's watching. If you're paying attention, if you're watching, hop into the Discord and you can contribute to whatever the hell that just was. And if you want to see the old videos or the last couple of streams and stuff like that, you can do so on the YouTube, which is right here. And that is it for us today. Have a good day. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
They